As always in style. We're so glad that you're with us today. This is KXEX 1550 AM. We're heard Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 6. You can also catch us on Spotify and on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We got it. And we got it when you can hear it. It's not just on the radio, but we talk politics, education, religion, technology, sports, values, and healthy communities. And it's a great opportunity for us to get to just chat with you a little bit and talk about things of interest to you. But you also can catch Good News with Larry Powell Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Nothing but good news stories Monday through Friday. And we're so glad that you're with us today. Make sure you check out Facebook, Spotify, because Spotify is one of those great places you can go and just listen anytime you want. You don't have to listen just on Saturday or Sunday. And one of my very special guests today is a good friend, and it's Dr. Saul Jimenez Sandoval, who is the president of Fresno State, my alma mater. And Dr. Sandoval, it's so nice to have you with us. And I'm going to refer to you as Saul, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great.
You and I both have had high-level, high-pressure, interesting positions.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And you think about it, and we're both in a lot of ways from the Valley.
Right.
I was born in Sanger. You were born in Mexico, but you grew up in Fowler.
I did. I was 10 when I moved.
Yeah. And, when you think about it, Fowler and Sanger had rivalries in the old days.
We did, yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Those small communities are a unique microcosm.
Patches against Red Cats.
You got it. You got it. So it's interesting to think about homegrown in a lot of ways leadership
right.
and the difference it makes for us here in the community when we understand the people, the surroundings, and those.
Right.
But I want people to know a little bit about you. You grew up in Mexico until 10,
Sure,
and then
yeah.
you moved here. Tell me about your family and and what got you to Fowler.
Yeah, so my dad had a farm. He had a small tomato farm.
Oh, cool.
And he just wanted us here with him.
Yeah.
So he had been coming back and forth between Mexico and the U.S. since 1951. In the region, he had been working in the field since that time.
Sure.
And finally, in 1980, he said, we're all going to the U.S.
How neat.
So at that time, I came. I'm the 8th child of 8.
Okay.
So
you're last on the list.
I'm last. They saved the best for last, right?
Exactly.
As the youngest of a large family, I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay.
I grew up in a very loving, supportive family. Very grateful for that.
Cool.
Very Christian family as well. Very strong faith. And I grew up in the farm. I grew up getting up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, man.
Trying to beat the sun.
I know why you're in education now.
But Larry, when you're in the farm, you don't know the lessons that the farm is teaching you.
Exactly.
Until you leave the farm. And then you realize that other people did not have the same foundation or the same work ethic or the same drive that you have.
Yeah.
When people talk to me about work today, it's not work. I know what work is. Work is getting up, pretty early.
Yeah.
Being blazed by the sun and just working it, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up in Fowler. I graduated from Fowler High in 1989. From there, I went to Irvine.
Who was superintendent then? Do you remember?
I think it was Crow.
Okay.
Was it Crow?
Yes. Yeah.
I think it was Crow.
John.
Yeah, John.
Good guy.
Yeah, really good guy.
Yeah.
And then after that, I left the region. I didn't go to Fresno State, not because I didn't want to go, because I really didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But because I just felt I needed to grow on my own.
Well, and getting away from the community for a short period of time.
Yeah.
You're a boomeranger.
Totally.
Which is what we like to.
Which is the same thing that happened, right? Once I left the region, I valued the region to such a deep, cellular level.
Yes.
I really felt hunger for the region in so many ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything was different. Even the water, smelled differently in Southern California. It smelled like Florida all the time.
I agree.
So I came back in 2000 armed with a PhD to teach.
Yeah.
And I knew whom I wanted to teach. I knew that I wanted to teach my community.
Yeah, exactly.
And my communities, in general, really embraced my teaching. And I just grew up in Fresno State.
Well, you had a sense of what kids were going through.
I
You know,
did. I
yeah.
totally did.
And that's a huge advantage for
Right.
somebody in leadership to understand what somebody is going through as they're trying
Right,
to seek
right.
a different life to
Well,
become better.
right.
You know,
Yeah. So imagine, Larry, being in a class and your professor saying to you, "I grew up in Fowler and I'm just like you guys."
yeah,
Right.
it's
I know
fantastic.
where you're coming from.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I had a lot of fun in the classroom.
That's
I
cool.
just enjoy the classroom.
Tell me about your high school years. Did you participate in extracurricular activities, or were you on the farm all the time?
I was pretty much on the farm a lot of the time, but as a junior and a senior, I was part of the academic decathlon.
Oh, cool.
So I was part of that. But I've always been a runner. So I didn't run for the school, but I ran on my own.
Yep.
In
That's
the evenings,
cool.
more than anything.
Well,
the mornings were dedicated to the farm. So.
Yeah, no choice.
No choice in that. Yeah.
Tell me about your mom and dad. Are they still with you, or?
They're not. They both passed. My dad passed about a year and a few months ago.
Okay.
He lived to be 91.
Yeah, that's cool. My dad made it to 90.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And I got to see my dad retire and do things that he really wanted to do.
So he got to see you as president.
He did get to see me as president.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it really was phenomenal.
Yeah. My dad was superintendent at Swift & Company and raised the processed turkeys.
Oh, that's great.
So he was superintendent there. I was superintendent in education.
Yeah, exactly. A different type of superintendent.
Yeah. And his joke to me all the time was, we both work with turkeys at times.
That's a good one.
So we had some fun with that. But great guy, great example for me, and I'm sure your father was for you.
Incredible example. Yeah, my dad taught me the value of work, the value of being honest and transparent, family and faith.
Yep.
I'm the man I am today because of my father, for sure.
Well, one of the things that I think a lot of folks fail to realize is that the value of Hispanics in our community,
sure,
they are American. Family, faith, those kinds of things are a big part of the inner culture within them.
Yeah.
And so we're stronger in America as a result,
right?
Because they bring all of these traditions that we all share,
right?
And that's fantastic,
Yeah, on the other hand, economically speaking, it's we contribute greatly to this
could not
land
get
of ours.
by without it. Yes, I know exactly. Well, it's such a neat thing to have you from Fowler, me from Sanger. We've got combinations of small town feeling, and my dad was born in Sanger, so I've got a long history.
That's
there.
Incredible.
And then I moved to Fresno when I was really young, but it's been great. So I'm a McLean graduate.
That's great. Highlanders.
Valley, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're very, very blessed. So tell me, you have your wife.
Sure. Mariana.
Greek?
She's Greek.
Yeah.
She's of Greek descent.
Paul Dictos would really like that.
Paul Dictos would love that. Yeah, exactly.
He's
and we know Paul.
Yeah.
So so Mariana was born in San Diego. Her parents are from Greece.
Yeah.
She grew up speaking Greek. She has a very Greek last name.
Yes.
Anagostopoulos.
I was trying to work out how to say it.
It took me a while, Larry, to learn how to spell it. It's the spelling that gets you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's 17 letters long. So that's thought, how did you do that in grammar school?
Now, is she like Paul? Paul has a family home still in Greece that they've had for hundreds of years.
Right, yeah. They do have a family home in Greece.
Yeah, it's so interesting that the way the culture works.
Sure, yeah.
And Paul was the first elected Greek official in California.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, cool guy, So
very
a lot
cool
of fun. A lot of fun. So what does she do now?
She's a professor of philosophy at Fresno State.
Oh, cool.
So we met in graduate school at Irvine. And then I came here in 2000, and then she followed in 2002.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was able to secure a position in her field, which is very, very lucky. We're very fortunate.
Well, that's a blessing. And Dot and I were both educators, and she was a principal in Fresno Unified. I was as well for a period of time before becoming superintendent. So there's something unique about husband and wife that get to work in the same field.
That's right.
You have the same stressors.
We do. We do.
You have the same joys, too.
We have the same joys, the same challenges as well.
Yeah. So you have two sons as well.
We do. The oldest one is Ari Arion. And he is a senior in high school, University High School.
Oh, cool place.
Yeah, well, it's convenient for us as well, and it's a very good school as well.
Yeah,
we're very happy with that. And then the younger one is Leo. Leo is a sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool. Well, the University High there is one of the top. What is it? Top 25 in the nation.
In the nation,
yeah,
right.
really.
Yeah,
fantastic. I've spoken there a number of times over the years, and great plan that they had, and the combination of having you guys at Fresno State open up a campus just made a huge difference.
Yeah, students start taking classes at Fresno State sophomores.
Yeah, that's so neat, so neat. Well, it's a good thing, and it's a good combination for us, and they get to see Fresno State, and hopefully it's a path directly to Fresno State.
Exactly.
Well, folks, we're speaking today with a good friend of mine, the president of Fresno State, Dr. Saul Jimenez Sandoval, who is a Valley kid, just like me, and we're going to talk a lot about some of the things. It's nice to hear our leaders and what they're about. And Saul, it's so nice to have you with us. Stick with us. We're going to be right back. This is Powell to the People, where civility is always in style.
You're listening to Powell to the People. Write it down.
No matter what comes, no matter what goes, if you're on a high, if you're in a low, if you're getting sick, if you're feeling well, if you're getting up, if you just fell, God's love and faithfulness will always be the same. Something never changed.
This is Powell to the People on the best talk in town.
Hey, welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We're so glad that you're with us. Remember, you can catch us Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 6. We talk politics, education, religion, technology, sports, values, healthy communities, anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. Good News with Larry Powell can be heard every day, Monday through Friday, 10 and 4 o'clock. And if you want to get pumped up with a good news story, check out Powell to the People and Good News with Larry Powell. And one of the things I talk about with the good news stories, I talk about good news stories from Fresno State a lot because there's so many good things that are happening.
There are a lot of good things, yeah.
And I know in reading your biography and in knowing you, you care deeply about the success of kids.
I do, yeah.
And their ability to change not only their life, but fundamentally their families as well, and their history down.
That's right.
And what's going to happen.
In our community.
Community absolutely does change.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing when you think about it, that a kid can come and totally revamp everything that's going to happen by becoming a graduate at Fresno State.
That's it.
It changes life.
So here's just a number for you, Larry, and to our audience as well. 80% of all of our graduates stay in the region.
Oh, I love it.
There's no other institution in the nation that can claim that.
That's fantastic.
80%. So that means that out of 6,000 graduates, 4,800 stayed right here.
That's amazing.
So the more we support Fresno State, this is my pitch for Fresno State, right?
Yes,
the stronger our community becomes.
Absolutely. And the more you can get college graduates in the community.
That's right.
The better life is for everybody.
Yeah.
It's really good. Now, there's a statistic I think I remember. Are you number 3 on graduate list?
That's right. Yeah, for graduation rates. Yeah,
graduation
across the nation.
That's phenomenal in a public university.
No, it's phenomenal. And we have to put that into context, right? We have to say that our students, the standard GPA that comes to us is about a 3.3.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So that's an incredible thing. Other universities have students who have a 3.8, 3.9. If you go to San Diego State, for example, their entering freshman GPA is like 3.9 something, right?
Wow.
But we graduate. But we're up there, right? We're graduating our students, right?
I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. If you come to Fresno State, you're going to get your degree.
You're going to get your degree.
If you want to put the time in to do it.
Totally, Larry. And it's not going to be this impersonal degree. You're not going to be a number.
Yep.
Right. You're going to be in a classroom where professors know you and professors care about your education, and they empower you to get to know that field of study.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The unique thing for you were a professor at Fresno State, was Portuguese and Spanish.
Right, poetry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fantastic. So you understand the folks there
I do.
and what they do,
I
and
do.
the students that come to the university. So
Right.
it's not just a head knowledge.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a heart knowledge as well, personal
Right.
knowledge about what's going on.
So what happens when a freshman comes in is they're or a transfer student as well, right?
Sure.
They're insecure. They feel unassuming. They're full of anxiety, and they're thinking to themselves, "Do
Absolutely.
I really belong here?"
Yeah.
But slowly, the professor begins to build them up and to build their confidence.
I love it.
And pretty soon, they're seniors, like focused, like bulldogs, ready to take on the world. And they do. They impact our community in so many ways.
That's really cool. Really cool.
Like
Now-
you. I mean, right here, prime example.
Well, and I've got a lot of friends who are Fresno State grads, and I love the university. I graduated in 1970,
That's great.
71. I had one class left to take because I went to get married.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's
Then
important.
came back, yeah. And then obviously wrestled at Fresno,
Right.
State.
Right.
And someday I'm still hopeful it will come back.
Right, yeah.
And I understand all the pressures and everything
Right.
that happens with that.
It's
but
money, Larry.
It's money every time. What we need is a Fresno State billionaire. to
Yeah, I would
step
love
up.
it to come back, to be telling you the truth, but it's money at the end of the day.
Yeah, and and it's a tough balance with Title IX and
Sure,
all the things that
sure.
happen there and things, but we're going to keep hoping
Right,
and keep working for
Sure.
someone.
Yeah.
There's a Fresno State grad out there that has a lot of money and could step up and fund this for
Step
5
up,
years.
come on.
Yeah, I hear you. So, but I love what happened as a result of being an athlete at
Sure.
Fresno State. And probably in the last segment, I want to talk a little bit about a measure that's coming up
Sure,
that we're
yeah.
going to,
Sure.
I think it's really important for our community to understand
Right.
that the university is one of the top 26 universities in the nation.
That's right. Just came out.
Yeah. So U.S. News and World Report.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. And that's an increase of 10 positions, I
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah, from
from what
year.
it was last year.
Yeah.
Folks, do you realize how good
Yeah.
Fresno State is?
Yeah.
You know?
And the list of the 25 ahead of us, they're big, heavy hitting universities.
Big money
And
universities.
big money universities.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
So we're so blessed in the Valley to have this as the anchor,
Right.
so to speak,
Yeah.
for
The
education.
flagship.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the unique things that I think happens here that doesn't happen a lot of places is you and Fresno Pacific, for example,
Sure.
do partnerships.
We do.
and work
We do,
together
quite
on
a bit.
things. So
Yeah.
so it's not a matter of one being better than
Not
the
at
other,
all.
but
No.
rising water really
Right.
raises all boats.
And I actually have a very strong friendship with Dr. Stevens.
Dr. Stevens is a great president
He's a
as
great
well.
guy.
Yeah. And as much as I love Fresno State, I'm on the board at Fresno Pacific.
Right,
so
right. Yeah, yeah.
I like to see both universities do really well.
But that's how it is,
you know.
right? I mean, we influence each other. We
Yep.
we empower each other, and I think that the story here is not that you're a Fresno State grad or you're an alumnus, and therefore you belong to us. No,
Yep.
the entire valley is Fresno State
Yeah, absolutely.
because the entire valley is permeated by this power of Fresno State.
no doubt.
Whether you went to Cal Poly or wherever else, my teachers, Fresno State teachers, taught you.
Yes.
Right, so your success is thanks to the power of Fresno State teachers in the classroom, or entrepreneurs, or nurses, or engineers.
Yep.
I mean, the list goes on and on. So every single aspect of your life in the Valley, it's literally touched by the power and the excellence of
Yep.
our graduates.
You remember they used to say that 1 out of every 6 jobs in America was tied to GM.
Mhm.
Well, in a lot of ways, I think that's a similar kind of
Very
statistic for us
similar.
here
Very
with
similar.
Fresno State.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe 1 or even 1 out of 5
that's right.
jobs are
Yeah.
somehow connected
Yeah.
to the university.
One way or the other, first degree, second degree, third degree of separation, you will
Yes.
encounter Fresno State.
There's no doubt about it. And if you want a really good graduate who is well trained,
Right.
well educated,
Yeah,
and is going to stay here,
and knows how to work. Larry.
yeah,
Knows how to work, right?
Exactly.
Other graduates from other universities think they're privileged and think they're entitled.
exactly.
Our graduates, they're hardworking.
Yeah,
About 95% of my students have 1 or 2 jobs.
don't you love it?
I
It's
do.
fantastic.
I do.
I know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, one of the highest costs for any employer is having to retrain somebody who
Right.
leaves.
Right.
Our folks come and stay.
They stay.
Yeah.
They stay.
And they love the
Nurses,
community.
Larry, nurses stay on average 92%.
Wow.
The nurses that I graduate stay here 92%.
That's fantastic.
It is phenomenal.
Especially when you see nurses can go any place they
They
want
can.
right now.
Right.
You know,
They
financially,
command
they
big money.
high salaries, you know, and stuff. So, and we want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen with whatever measure
Sure.
it becomes called.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, Measure E, because nursing is going to benefit
It will.
from that too.
It will.
And that will help all of us,
Yeah.
as we know, just having gone through the pandemic and all the
Right.
things associated with that. Well, when you first got to Fresno State, what impressed you the most about the university when you started teaching there?
You know, what impressed me the most were the students.
Mm.
I was teaching UCI, and I was also teaching at Chapman University.
Okay.
And I would give my students homework or work,
Sure.
right? And they would always complain. Always complain,
I
Larry.
love it.
Like continuously complain.
Yep.
Do I really have to read this? Is this going to be on the test? You know, like constant like whining over
Yeah.
and over and over, right? I came here, I gave my students the work, and they said, thank you.
Oh, I love it.
They got to work. They're good,
you know,
hard
that's a
workers.
good place to work.
I know, and I would put my students on par with any other student in the nation
Yeah.
because they're such hard workers.
I love it.
Intelligence and hard work gets you far.
Yeah, that's good. How big was the university when you first started there? Do you
It
remember?
was not very big. No, back then we were maybe about 16,000.
Wow. Yeah. And when I was there in 66, when I first started, it was even smaller.
Right,
You know, but what's been fun for me is being homegrown,
right.
watching the university become this amazing place that it is now, 26th in
Thank
the
you.
nation.
And thanks to our alumni as well.
Yeah.
Thanks to your excellence.
You know, they really do make a difference, you know.
You do, Larry. Absolutely, you do.
That's cool. What's the size of the university now?
It's 24,000 in a bit. Yeah.
Wow, 24,000. How does it rank with other universities in the system in California?
We're sort of like in the middle.
Right in the middle.
We have Sacramento, which is north of us, with about 33.
Yeah.
We have Northridge, which is one of the big ones, with about 40.
Okay.
Fullerton is about 44.
Yeah. I've got to compliment you on something else that is
But-
kind of unique.
Hang on, Larry. But
Okay.
in the valley, we are the big dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. And no doubt about it.
I
Yeah.
will say that.
That's good. You know, when UC Merced came in,
Sure.
there was this fear or maybe anxiety that Fresno State might be impacted negatively
Right.
by it.
Right.
That has not been the case.
It has not been the case.
No, because there's an affinity, a love for the university that goes through generations
Right.
here. It's,
Well, and also think about it, Larry. Think about what you get by coming to Fresno State.
Yep.
You get this mature, expansive, incredible university, world-class professors. You get athletics like nobody
Top of
else.
the level.
Top of the level, right? I mean, we are
Yep.
the Valley's team.
Yep,
You
absolutely.
get a community that stays. It's
Yep.
not a community that comes and goes.
And the ag connection.
The ag connection is incredible. We have one of
Yeah.
the top ag schools in the nation. It's just a powerful place to be.
And Lyle's business.
Lyle's.
I mean, you know, it's amazing when you start going down Jordan and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of those.
No,
you know,
for
it's
sure.
pretty amazing. Folks, you're listening to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. My special guest today is Dr. Saul Jimenez Sandoval, and president of Fresno State, good friend. And we're going to talk a little more in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Thank you, Larry.
You're listening to Powell to the People. Write it down.
No matter what comes, no matter what goes, if you're on a high, if you're in a low, if you're getting sick, if you're feeling well, if you're getting up, if you just fell, God's love and faithfulness will always be the same. Some things never change.
This is Powell to the People on the best talk in town.
Welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We're so glad that you're with us. You know, it's a unique thing when you have leadership in the Valley that grew up in the Valley and understands the Valley, and it makes a big difference. And I love to talk about Fresno State, having been as a graduate of Fresno State, an alumnus, and to think about it doesn't just affect Fresno County.
Right.
It goes throughout the Valley.
does.
In fact,
It does.
it goes and pushes into Bakersfield. You know,
It does.
Dallas State,
It sure does.
Bakersfield area. And we get a lot of people from Bakersfield
We
come
do.
here
We do.
for school. and it goes all the way north as
Right.
well. So we literally are in
So,
the valley.
so just with engineering, Larry,
Yeah,
just with engineering, we produce the engineers of the valley.
I love it.
No one else has an engineering school like we do. No one.
And you know what? We're doing a lot of building too.
We are doing it out of the building.
Yeah, it's
And
fantastic.
engineering, more engineers mean more economic.
It's fantastic.
Development.
Yeah, exactly. And more economic development, more jobs.
That's right.
Better
That's exactly
housing,
right.
opportunities
everything.
for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. I want to talk a little bit about athletics just in general and Mountain West. I got to see if I can get a little insight here.
Sure, yeah. I will give you all the insight you want. I don't pull back, as you can tell.
I know. I remember I was in the Pacific Coast League. I was in the California Coast League. We were in 3 or 4 different leagues.
Walk.
Yeah. It was interesting as I was in college. We even changed during the time I was in college. So universities moving from one division to another and those kinds of things is kind of normal in a lot of ways. Although this latest change has been a sea level change.
It has been a sea level change.
It's no longer the Big 10, it's the Big 25 or whatever number they've got.
Yeah.
So Fresno State has done, last year, by the way, got to compliment the coach and university. 10-4, 10 in a row. Most amazing turnaround in college
Tedford
football.
is incredible.
Yeah, Tedford's a great guy.
Yeah.
So tell me, with all of the changes that are going on, what insights do you have right now that you can share about where we are, where we might be, what's going to happen? Or
so let me just really briefly set the stage. The conferences come together and pool their brands together in order to negotiate a contract with
TV, big
TV.
thing. Yeah.
And then TV then buys our games. And in doing so, they give us an allotment to each one of us. The Mountain West right now provides Fresno State about $5.5 million.
And it could be more.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be more.
Yeah, but that's a great number.
It is a good number.
Yeah.
If we look at what the other Power 4 now are negotiating, right? The Big 12 negotiated $32 million per school.
Wow.
So you see the difference between one and the other, right?
Yeah.
In all of this, then, what matters is the power of your brand. How do you build a brand? You build a brand by bringing up the good stuff that's associated to you, right? The good stuff is the red wave. Nobody has a red wave like we do.
Ever.
Nobody has a red wave like we do, right?
Yeah.
The attendance at last year's football games, 39,000
average.
Fantastic. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The big schools can't even come even close to that.
That's fantastic.
And we have 39,000 on the stands.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like the bedrock of everything.
I love it.
After that, it's your excellence in the field. But then most importantly, Larry, it's the storytelling that happens.
Yep.
It's what community do you represent in the field? And we represent 25% of our nation's food is produced right here in our region.
The biggest agricultural area
That's
in the world.
In the world and in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a compelling, powerful story of people coming together, working hard, being entrepreneurs.
Fresno County, Tulare County.
That's it.
The two most powerful
That's
anywhere.
it. Right there.
Yes.
Madera. Right?
Yeah.
So in all of this, what happens? We have a story to tell that is compelling and that is powerful.
I love it.
This is part of our brand.
Yep.
So I have been pitching this over and over and over in order to make people aware outside of our region and within our region that is not just in the middle of California, Fresno just appears out of magic. No.
Right.
We have labored, forged over the years our position to be where we are.
No doubt.
So within this then, branding is what gets you accepted into these Power 4 conferences.
Right. Right.
To get to that 32. Why do we want to get to that 32, right? Why do we want to get to that Power 4 conference? Because in doing so, our games will be broadcast across the nation.
Much broader, yes.
Everyone will see the excellence of our team on the field, but more importantly, with our commercials in between, they will see the excellence of our community. And in doing so, we get economic investment. We get, a higher sense of branding for our region.
Everybody wins.
Everyone wins.
Yeah.
That's why this is so important.
I love it.
It's not about Fresno State. It's about the region that we're talking about here.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Now, there's been some talk about some other universities from the Pac-12 that some discussions. Can you tell us anywhere we are on
Sure,
that?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Oregon State, Washington State,
Yeah.
coming into the Mountain West, it would be great. I think
Be a great combination.
be a great home for them.
Yes.
I think would be a great fit.
Well, and we've beaten them a number of times.
We have.
So,
We
you know,
have.
it's
We
good
lost to
competition.
Oregon State in the last 3 seconds. I have to say,
Yeah, I
last
hated
3 seconds last season. But you know,
Ah.
that shows you the power and the
No,
level
exactly.
of excellence that we have at Fresno State.
Yeah, and you know, when we've gone up against the Pac-12 in the past, we've done well. You know,
We
what
have.
was it, 17-0 against
Yeah,
UCLA?
yeah.
I mean, there have been times.
So we
that-
have faced UCLA 4 times,
Yep.
and 4 times we've beaten them. Just saying.
Just want to let you Bruin fans know it's the Bulldogs, not the Bruins. That's really good. And I'll never forget the Reggie Bush game.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that phenomenal game.
Phenomenal game.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then look at where Trent Dilfer is
Right.
now.
But it's that grit, that determination, that power that says, I'm a hardworking man, I'm a hardworking woman, right?
From the Valley.
And from the Valley, and no one's going to shake me.
I love it. I love it. You know, it's interesting. I get irritated every time I hear pro football and they don't say Fresno State when they say Dilfer.
Right.
You know, or they say, you know, any number of.
Same
you know,
here.
yeah, all
Yeah.
of the guys, you know. Whenever they're talking about any of the quarterbacks, they've got to say where they're from.
Where they're
know,
from,
and
exactly.
stuff. And
Yeah.
when you look at how good cars are doing
Right.
in New Orleans, I'm a New Orleans fan now.
Right.
You know, because he's such a great representative of the university.
Yes.
And David as well.
David as well.
You know, so when you start looking at all of the folks who have done really well, they've gone on and they're guys we're proud of.
Yeah.
You know,
And we go to the other sports as well. I mean, Paul George, for example.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
come on.
How about baseball?
Yeah,
Home
baseball.
runs.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty phenomenal when you start thinking about
Right.
how that is. So, do you have an idea of when we're going to have a decision on how we're going to flesh this all out?
So for this year, that we will not be able.
It'll be WAC.
It'll be
Yeah.
in the Mountain West.
The
Right.
Mountain West, excuse me. Yes.
And
Mountain
then in 2 years we will see. So
Okay.
that's why it's so
but
important.
it takes time.
It does take time,
Yeah.
and it takes time to build a brand that you believe in it.
Right.
So somebody else doesn't have to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, it's exciting to think about what the possibilities are, and which leads us into a preliminary conversation that I want to talk about, and that's Measure E.
Sure.
Because Measure E, California, and let me tell you, folks, 43 years in education that I did, I know what it's like when California doesn't fund maintenance. They don't fund
Right.
new buildings
Right.
very well, and they miss opportunities.
Right.
That, you know, I'm not going to criticize them heavily, but I do want to say this. You know, we had $18 billion surplus in
Yeah.
California
Yeah.
recently.
We did.
Wouldn't it be good to spend some of that on one-time kinds
Right.
of things that the universities
Right,
needed? That
right.
would have made it so much easier, because when you put it into ongoing kinds of things, you can't sustain it.
Right.
But when you put it into a project that is done and people get to see it, because
Right.
Californians like to see what they get for their money.
That's right.
And that's one of the things
Yeah.
that when it's an obvious thing they
Right.
get, they'll support it.
Like
you
the
know?
zoo, for example.
Like the zoo is a great
Right.
example, and they've supported it time and time
Right.
again. And then Measure C with the highways,
Right.
we've got a good highway system as a result.
Right.
You know, they supported the Parks Initiative, which
Right.
I was one of the chairpersons of. And we got $1 billion over 30 years
That's right.
coming in, so we can transform the area
Right.
and do some things. Well, you guys have a Measure. You went with Measure E to start with a couple of years ago.
Last year.
And things. We're rebranding it. We're relooking at it and trying to help people understand what some of the big values
Right.
are in it. And
Right.
we're going to jump to that in just a couple. We've got about a minute left in this segment, but I want to jump to some of that. But it has to do with key things like nursing,
It does. Engineering.
engineering, and athletics. So when
Yeah.
you take all 4 of those into account, those are the big 4
Yeah.
in Fresno. And everybody out there in our listening audience, you understand when Fresno State wins,
Right.
you know, we all cheer.
We
you
all
know?
do.
When Fresno State Business Department does well, the
Right.
college of, Lyles College of Business, we all succeed.
Right.
Everybody succeeds. Jobs are created.
Right.
The place is a much better place as a result. Ag is a no-brainer.
It's a total no-brainer.
And I can't wait for the corn every year out
Yeah.
of Fresno State. I buy 60 to 80 ears and take them to my neighbors.
That's awesome, Larry. I'm so glad to hear that.
That sweet corn is something else that you can't get
it's like
anywhere
nothing else.
It's
no,
really
nothing compares to it.
It's really amazing. Well, folks, we're going to talk about Measure E and some of the possibilities that can happen with that and the transformation that is possible for the Fresno community and beyond the valley as a result. So one of the things I want to do is get into a few of the details on that so you understand it completely. And here's something I want folks to understand. Tax initiatives like this, Jerry Brown gave the university the opportunity to bring those up, bond issues themselves. Used to have the legislature do it, but we now can do it through our universities. I trust people, and when we vote for ourselves to make ourselves better, that's a good thing. So we're going to learn more about that. You're with Larry Powell to the People, where good news is always available and civility is always in style. We're going to be right back. Stick with us.
If you're in a low, if you're getting sick, if you're feeling well, if you're getting up, if you just fell, God's love and faithfulness will always be the same. Some things never change.
This is Powell to the People on the best talk in town.
Welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We're so glad that you're with us. Saul, I can't believe how quickly 4 segments.
It's been
we're into our
fast.
fourth. It's just gone really quick. But when you're talking about something you love, it makes it easy to talk about it. Folks, I'm with Dr. Saul Jimenez Sandoval, the president of Fresno State, good friend, and doing a great job in leadership. And the university always has, you're going to always have challenges. You know, when I was county superintendent, we had challenges, but you've been able to navigate through some difficult times.
Sure, yeah.
COVID, is a great example.
It is a great example
of how the university continued to maintain excellence, continued to maintain graduation rate, continued to do all of those things that we're really proud of. The athletics continued to do well. Lyles College of Business did well. I mean, it's one thing and another. But Measure E is coming up. When it's going to be on the ballot?
In March.
In March of 2024.
2024, March 6th, I believe.
Yeah. And, there's a good opportunity, folks, because the March is like a local election in a lot of ways. And so we get an opportunity to really do something special here at Fresno State and for the community. But there are so many things that are involved in this. And I know you're out talking all the time to folks. And what you're doing is you're not advocating, you're explaining.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So this is a citizen-led initiative.
Yes.
Fresno State
which means 50% plus one vote.
That's right, exactly. 50% plus one vote, and which means that Fresno State is not advocating for it because we cannot get involved in any election.
Right.
Whether it benefits us or not.
But you can certainly explain what happens as a result. I can certainly explain
what happens as a result because it doesn't take rocket scientists to figure out that $1.5 billion coming to Fresno State in the next 25 years is going to make the university the most consequential university, not just in the region, but California and the nation.
Oh, I agree with you. I think that's fantastic. Well, I know,
and we will be the leaders of that.
Yes, and we all benefit.
That's
from that.
That's right.
One of the things on the list is a concert hall. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the concert hall would be on Shaw, the frontage of Shaw, and it would be open to the public. It would invite our communities to come into Fresno State, to engage with Fresno State, to see the power, the diversity, the music that represents all of us in the region.
And who doesn't like ethnic music?
Right. Or, our music, that you've been playing this country song, which is awesome. I love it, right? Great rhythm and great message as well, right?
Exactly. So the concert hall is going to be about $45 million.
That, $45 million of that, yeah.
And I think there was some talk about another $15 million from other sources.
Right, exactly.
So you have a state-of-the-art.
We do have a state-of-the-art 1,000-seater as well.
Wow.
We would bring in the Philharmonic, and we will bring in, really, really great music for the public.
It's a community center.
It's a total community center.
Yeah.
But the best part about it is that, I can imagine a family coming with their kids and saying, we're going to Fresno State's concert hall, right?
Yeah.
The kids being at the space of Fresno State are going to say to themselves, I'm going to come here, you know, at the
Absolutely.
university.
Yeah. I might come to University High and then
Right?
there.
I'm going to go to college.
Yeah. And music is one of the qualifiers to get you into
That's right,
University
yeah.
High. So it's a great combination.
It's a great combination, yeah.
Great combination. One of the other things is the Lyle College of Engineering.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you know, the Lyle College has had a fantastic reputation for as long as I can remember.
It's phenomenal.
And an
Top
amazing
of the-
place. If you want to get your master's degree in that arena, you know, it is also recognized as one of the top in the nation around.
It is.
What do they get out of this?
So get this, Larry. We have a collection of specialized engineers that specialize in water, civil, electrical. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, the engineering
Right
program
here
is
in our backyard.
Yes, yes.
So what do they get? They get a new building because that building represents economic vitality for our region.
Yeah.
The more engineers we produce, the stronger our economy will be.
Amazing.
That's just the bottom line.
Amazing. You know, I love the idea of the creativity that can happen as a result. You know, so it's really good to get our kids the opportunity to create buildings.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and create
Right,
unique
right,
things
right.
like that.
That's
so
right.
the engineering, phenomenal. The other one is the nursing.
Nursing is huge,
Now,
and we've seen.
what do we need here in California and across the nation? We need medical fields.
We need medical
and
professionals
nursing.
who stay with us.
Yes.
Larry, more than
Yes.
anything, they stay with us. And what does that mean? It means that kids who grew up in Clovis or Fresno, you know, Fowler, where I grew up or wherever, they've grown up with each other.
Exactly.
They've grown up talking to each other, right? And in doing so, they want to stay here, be the neighbors, be the friends that they are for life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, you think about it, Community Regional Medical Center has trouble getting enough nurses now.
Yeah.
And the pandemic just
Right.
made it so hard on
Right,
everybody.
right.
But to think about the possibility of Fresno State producing all of our own nurses.
That's right.
And they live here, stay here.
Yes, that's
and,
it.
And folks get an opportunity to go into a field a lot of kids want to go into.
That's right.
But they haven't been able to.
So this is the challenge that I currently face, Larry. Last year, 128 4.0s.
Wow.
128 4.0s were vying for 60 slots.
128 4.0s.
Now let's put that into context, right?
Wow.
We are not talking about the 3.95s
Yeah.
or the 3.9s or the 3.8s
Which are AAA.
or the
doing
3.7s, right? I mean, if I were to go to the doctor or whatever else, and the doctor told me, well, I had a 3.8 in college, it would be like, you're golden. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I trust you, right? We're talking about 128 4.0s
For 60 spots.
for 60 spots in nursing.
Wow. Amazing. And you know, I don't want the 3.0. I want the 4.0
Right.
when I get the service.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's so what happens, what do they benefit from? What does nursing benefit
We
from
would
this?
incrementally increase the output of nurses in the region.
Boy, that's great.
Nurses who are part of our community.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
belong to us. We don't have to bring them from other places, from other countries like we are currently doing. We're importing nurses on a yearly basis.
Absolutely. Yeah. We see that regularly.
Right. And then
Yeah.
they come, they stay here for like a year or two, and then
Yep.
what do? They leave after
A
that.
traveling nurse has become a part of America.
It has.
Yeah.
It
And-
has.
and-
Because we don't have permanent nurses. Were we to have permanent nurses, we wouldn't need
Yeah.
traveling nurses.
Yeah, exactly. So do they get a building out of this?
They do.
And
They absolutely
Tell
do.
me about that.
So they get a building, they get an increase in the program. We get to increase
So
tremendously.
the number of people participating.
The number of people participating, the 60 is going to go up dramatically as well.
Fantastic.
And then we will gradually increase it, year after year.
Yeah. And that's a big economic boom to the area.
It's huge.
So that's
It's
huge. And then to one of my favorite areas. Now, I love engineering. I love the concert hall because I play piano,
Right.
and sing. I write songs.
That's great.
I do all kinds of stuff like that. Nursing, all of that is good. My love is athletics.
Right. Right.
Having been a wrestler at Fresno State,
Right.
and
Right.
I love athletics. I've been involved in probably 15 to 18 different groups at Fresno
Sure,
State over
sure,
the years
yeah.
to support things that are going on, whether it's academics or athletics.
Right.
But athletics, tell us what happens with athletics. I think it was 250 45 million or something around there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So let's put athletics into context. Right.
Okay.
Athletics is our calling card for everything. I go to DC.
Yep.
I go abroad. I go to anywhere in the nation.
Yep.
If people come to me and say, "Go Dogs,"
Bulldogs, baby. Go
That's
Dogs
it.
is right. Yes.
That's it. You're the
Yeah.
Bulldog, right?
Yes.
You're president of Fresno State. You're so
Yeah.
it is the opening front door to the entire university. It is an integral part of
Yep.
the brand that
Yep.
we were talking about earlier.
It's
in
like
other
the front
segment.
porch
It's the front porch
that you
of the
see
university.
driving by.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right.
I love it.
So within that, then, the stronger we become in athletics, the stronger our brand and our degrees will become.
Well,
So to that student who has never played, who has never been a wrestler, who's never been
yep.
whatever else, has nothing to do with athletics, they need to understand that the stronger the athletic powerhouse of Fresno State is, the more value their degree will be.
I love it.
To
Yeah.
the general person,
Well, Ohio State, you start taking
That's it.
universities that
That's
have
it.
good athletic
Yeah, that's it.
histories. You're right.
right? So
Yeah.
to the average person, who thinks they don't have a connection to Fresno State because sooner or later they do,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They are impacted by the branding and the image that is produced by a Fresno State going into the Rose Bowl, defeating UCLA in their own turf in the last 54 seconds of the game
Yeah.
2 years ago,
You know,
right?
I remember the feeling the first time we beat UCLA.
Yeah.
It was like, we are good.
Yeah.
You know, go Dogs.
Yeah, I was just at another event before yours, and somebody came to me and said, "I graduated from Northridge, Cal State Northridge, but I'm always rooting for the Dogs.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm always rooting for the Bulldogs, and
Well-
I wore my Bulldog red in Northridge.
Well, I love that. And you notice I've got my Bulldog shirt
I
on
do.
today.
I
You
appreciate
got
that very much. Yeah,
You know,
I got my
got
red.
your little
Yeah, my pin.
pin there.
That's
you
right.
know. In fact, I have probably, 50 Bulldog pins
Right.
that I hand out wherever I
That's
go.
great.
You know, so
That's
that's
great.
really cool. I can't believe we're down to 1 minute
Wow,
left.
that was fast, Larry.
Saul, this has been really fun.
It's been an honor.
It's
A
been
true
really
honor.
neat. And folks, I want you to know we're so blessed to have Saul as our president here at Fresno State. What a difference to have someone who loves the community, has great family,
Thank you.
history that is a history anybody would want
Thank
to
you.
have and to have in our leadership
Yeah.
role here. We're just so blessed with that. I want to thank you for what you're
Thank
doing at Fresno State, for the things that are going to happen
Thank
in
you,
the
Larry.
future, what
Thank
you've
you.
done in the past. It's a great place, and you're a big part of that. We appreciate you.
Thank
you,
you.
Dr.
Yeah,
Saul.
I'm honored, and I'm here to stay.
Well,
Thank
it's
you very
good
much.
stuff. Folks, thanks for being with us on Powell to the People. I can't believe how fast 4 segments go, but when you're talking to somebody like Dr. Saul,
Thank you.
it makes it easy. Stick with us at Powell to the People. You can catch us on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We got it. We'll catch you later next week. Thanks so much for being a part of it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.